I think I would be a good SpongeBob. No.
I'm a good cat freak.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is for you when this pops up on your scrolling on Facebook. We are the Monday Movie Club. We're continuing our new project of recommending the movies that each of us watch every week. Yeah, I have nothing to say about that.
we recommend yeah, never mind. Trying to dissect that sentence is just weird.
Maybe we should turn to our grammarian name.
I didn't even remember what you said. We're continuing to watch movies that each of us has recommended the other watch, the other view.
Yeah, but we had every week at the end, so it sounded like we're watching,
Right.
Like
Anyway.
we're recommending them every week, but we actually recommended them at the beginning of the year. Okay, I'm Frank Gaffney. Were you going to say, I think we can move on?
I think we need to edit this one too, is what I was going to say.
With me, as always, is Amy Cat Freak Goldman, Film Freak Joel Fenster, Boob Freak Mark Wotitz Gartner, and Annie King, who still has a job.
Are you implying
I don't.
The rest, I was going to say, are you implying the rest of us don't?
Well, I don't.
I
Joel,
don't.
you've never had a job.
That's
Being
not
housewife is not a job.
True. Stay-at-home dad, not housewife. And before that, I did have several jobs. Thank you very much.
I had several jobs before this too.
Yeah.
It's going to be a job getting to this review. This week, we have one of Joel's selections, Peter Jackson's The Frighteners. Joel, it seems like all the elements are here for what should have been a blockbuster. What went wrong?
Oh, a lot of things. They didn't know how to, Universal didn't know how to advertise the movie properly. It opened during the Summer Olympics in Atlanta. There was a lot going on at the time. So it was kind of doomed to failure.
Blame the movie studio.
Yeah. When in
So,
doubt.
okay, wait, here's my problem. The theatrical version was 1 hour and 40 minutes.
Yes.
In 2005, Peter Jackson did a director's cut that was 1 hour and 52 minutes. But the one I watched was 2 hours and 2 minutes. What the hell happened?
Well, what the hell happened is whatever you were reading is wrong. The original cut of the film that opened in theaters was 1 hour and 52 minutes, and the director's cut is the 2 hours and whatever minutes.
I'm crossing that off.
Okay.
So that's actually what I watched, the
Director's cut.
The extended version.
Yes.
Okay, there's way too much going on in this movie. There's too much plot. Beetlejuice, Ghostbusters, natural born killers. It doesn't know if it wants to be serious or silly. And for me, it never really went anywhere. And Michael J. Fox, as much as I love him, is too cocky in this movie. And it's all Back to the Future, because John Astin has the Christopher Lloyd part, and Jeffrey Combs has the Crispin Glover part. So that was it.
Okay.
And I was also confused about the rules of the ghosts in this movie, because they can go through walls, but they can get run over by a truck. Can the ghosts kill people and kill other ghosts?
Yeah, when you saw him get run over by the truck, his neck got all flattened down and popped right back up.
Yeah.
I
like
thought
a
it was odd that
cartoon.
the other one couldn't come out of the dirt, though.
So the rules are a little wonky here.
The rules are a little wonky. They play fast and loose with some of them, just for effects and giggles. So.
And speaking of effect, this movie is really about scary wallpaper. It comes at you from the wallpaper. But the special effects were all great. And it certainly was ambitious for the time in that respect. And I'm sure it was inspiration and even a roadmap for other movies that did this sort of thing after it. And Peter Jackson got to do King Kong and, of course, Lord of the Rings. So, we won there. But I think, like most of the movies,
we got to the Hobbit.
Yeah, we don't talk about the Hobbit. But I think, like,
yeah,
I think, like most of the movies that we've been recommending, the nostalgia factor is high with this one. And I had never seen it before. And
I
if
never
I
heard
were,
of it before.
I had heard of it because Joel put it on his list of greatest movies. And so did someone who's never joined us, and I don't know why, Jordan Michael Hensley. Why
Mm.
has he never been a part of our Move Hub?
I don't know. I'll ask him.
Yeah, tell him to come join us.
Okay.
So so I think that if I were a 12-year-old boy, I would have liked this movie. I would have been fascinated by it. I would have loved it. But being the 64-year-old cranky man that I am, I'm going to give it 2.5 stars. I don't really have much more to say. And there were things to like about the movie for sure, but I found it all a bit torturous. Aim, do you agree with me?
Well, Joel, do we want to give Joel his due?
Why did he pick it?
Yeah, all that good stuff.
All right, Joel. Why
Obviously,
did you?
because I'm a 12-year-old boy. That's what we've established at this point. I saw this movie when it came out in the theaters,
And
and
how old were you?
this is 96, 7, somewhere around there. So
Six.
You were
I'm
27.
27, 28-ish.
12-year-old boy.
Yeah, exactly. I love the movie. I don't mind the wonkiness. I don't mind things that traverse different genres because it doesn't have to. I don't believe in movies. Oh, this has to be a comedy. This has to be a drama. This has to
Oh,
be.
I
A
agree. I
And
agree.
I
I
think
think if you handle it well,
I think this film
it could be all
handles it
things.
well. I think the one thing it doesn't handle as well as the rest of it. It handles the comedy fine. It handles the horror fine. The romance is a little. It's not established as well as it should be. It's kind of a bit of a leap for Michael J. Fox and Trini Alvarado to get together at the end. It feels like they're doing that because they just went through this trauma together. But I enjoyed the movie. When it came out on Laserdisc is when they released it with the as a director's cut in a box set that actually has a making of the movie.
So that was 2005. They waited that long to.
No, the Laserdisc came out in 90, like a year or two after the movie was in theaters.
Oh, okay. Because I read
And-
that the 2005 was the director's cut.
Yeah, the director's cut came out on DVD in 2005. It existed on Laserdisc before then. And Peter Jackson also created a 4-hour-long documentary about the making of the movie, which kind of sets the tone for everything that came out later with his stuff on the Lord of the Rings trilogy and King Kong. There's just lots of material.
Oh yeah, no, I could definitely see where this led him to that for sure.
Yeah. But that's I've seen this movie. I mean, I can't say I've seen it as many times as I've seen like Star Wars or things like that, but I've seen it at least a dozen times over the years. And I still enjoy it every time I see it. We watched it. Natasha had never seen it when we got married. It was something I had to talk her into because anything with scary stuff in it is not her cup of tea. She loves the movie. We saw it with friends on Friday night again. The wife had seen it before. She loves it. The husband was freaked out by it, but enjoyed it. So, I like it. I don't. It's not a
Wait, I
4-star.
think you were just supposed to say why you picked it. You weren't supposed to give your whole review.
Well, you're getting it now anyway. So I'll hold back my stars.
Do review.
I'll hold back my stars.
All right, you can rebut at the end.
Okay.
Speaking of butts, Aim.
Queens, New York abstains courteously.
Torturous.
Joel. And I hate to shit on somebody's choice. Joel, I am so sorry.
I'm used to it at this point. At this point, the next movie group of movies I'm gonna pick, I'm gonna torture you people like nobody's business. When I pick Bellatar's Satan Tango, you're gonna fucking hate me.
Well, if I
So the
didn't
movie
hate
club will be disbanded at the end of this year.
Yes, thank you.
If I didn't hate you after Flash Gordon, I'm hating you now. Let me look at my notes. Why did Michael
Wait,
J.
look
Fox,
like this.
why did Michael J. Fox drive his 40-year-old car like a maniac? After that first cemetery scene, it was like he was just all over the streets, the sidewalk.
Because he wanted to crash again so he could die and be with his wife.
Yeah, we're gonna go with that because it was ridiculous. I'm like, he's got Parkinson's. He should not be driving. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
I know. The guy who played Ray was like the worst actor I have ever seen in my life. Have we even heard of him?
I looked up his career.
Animator.
He's done stuff here and there, but nothing.
What did you
Nothing
say,
else.
Joel Mark? The Terminator?
The
No,
reanimator.
Oh, the
Reanimator.
Reanimator. Oh, okay. Oh my
But he was
God.
bad in that.
No,
He was
no.
he was bad in that movie, and that was a bad movie.
Wait a second. Wait a
No,
second.
Ray
You're
is
confusing actors, Mark.
no Ray is Peter Dobson.
Ray is the husband, Trini Alvarado's husband.
Yeah,
Oh,
And like I
sorry, yeah, he
said-
was bad too.
Oh,
he'd done a lot of stuff, but nothing major.
I will say I thought everybody was bad except for Trini and Michael. I thought they did a really good job. And the guy who played the sheriff, whose name I don't know, but I know him. Why do I know him? I'm
Yeah, the big
really,
fat
Mrs.
guy.
Doubtfire.
really.
Mrs.
Oh.
Doubtfire. He was the bus driver.
I wonder if that's
That's
where
where I know him from.
He's a character actor. He's been in a lot of
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
I can't think of his name right now, but
And I thought Arlie Ermy was a lot of fun recreating an officer and a gentleman. Except we didn't need him to do it again at
No.
the end of the movie.
No, Full
Full
Metal
Metal
Jacket.
Jacket.
couldn't you?
Full
people
Metal
keep
Jacket, yes, I'm
movies
sorry.
Left and right, actors left and right. Why are we even talking at this point?
No, one confusion was Mark's. This one was Amy's.
Yeah. When we first see the Hitler FBI guy, God, and I saw that he suggested he have his hair look like Hitler. He looked ridiculous. And the first time we saw him, he was acting like this terrified lunatic and then vomited like he was possessed by the character in The Exorcist. It was ridiculous. And all I could say was, what the fuck? Who is this guy? I hated him. And the woman who played Dee Wallace's mother with her like cartoon Disney hair, who did the hair in this movie? I hated it. Why does Frank Bannister paint FB on everything he owns? That was ridiculous.
What is it? Joel?
Oh,
He puts his initials on his tools. A lot of construction workers
Wow.
do that because if they don't, somebody's going to take it and they never get it back.
all right, I'll give you that.
So wasn't it cute that Trini Alvarado's character was Lynn Linsky because Melanie Linsky was in Heavenly Creatures, so he gave them
Oh.
a last name.
That's cute. Never knew that because I never saw Heavenly Creatures. At the 127 mark, I almost turned the movie off when Hitler started freaking out in the car, like he couldn't get out of the car. So he was going like this. I'm like, trying to open the door. And then he gets out and takes off the shirt and you see all these things on his body. I'm like, what am I watching? I had no idea what was going on the last half hour. It was such a mishmash of so many different movies. And finally, at the end, my final comment, who the fuck are the mutton birds and why did they pick their version of Don't Fear the Reaper? They couldn't afford Blue Oyster Cult. I mean, I was like, this is awful. So
But other than that,
How was
4
the fight
stars.
with Lincoln?
4 stars. 4 stars.
I'm going with 3. No, I'm going with 1.5. I hated it.
But you didn't turn it off, so it gets 1.5.
I would never turn a movie off in our group. Never. But I wanted to. Joel, I'm so sorry.
It's fine. Amy.
No, I would not apologize.
Yeah.
You like what you like, you don't like what you don't like.
Exactly.
Mark G, you're a boy, 12 years old.
I am, but very similar to you and Amy, I had never seen this. I had never heard of it until just a few months ago when Joel put it on the list. And part of why I didn't like it is because when I read about it, I looked it up and I said, oh, the plot sounds good. It's Michael J. Fox, Peter Jackson. This is going to be, I can't wait. I can't wait to watch this movie. I can't believe I've never seen it or heard of it. But unfortunately, my review is going to be very similar.
There was a
I
reason
didn't
why.
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it as much as Amy. I'm more along with Frank there. Like I think Frank said, it didn't know what it wanted to be. And I found it to be too cheesy and silly, aimed at kids, but it's an R-rated movie with horror and even some cursing. It pick one. And I know what you said, Joel, and I agree. It doesn't have to fit into one.
Here's the thing: is this movie was originally going to be directed by Robert Zemeckis, and it was originally going to be a spin-off of Tales from the Crypt, because they had done 2 movies already that were very successful, and they all have the same tone as the TV series.
Right.
It's horror comedy with other things fit in. Zemeckis loved the script so much, but decided that he wasn't going to be able to do it justice, and loved what Peter Jackson had done with Heavenly Creatures. So said,
Well, quite frankly, Robert Zemeckis has never done justice to any movie.
that's a different story. Anyway, I
Forrest Gump disagrees with that.
the tone fits that series well. So,
And you were, Joel, you were a fan of Tales of the Crypt?
yeah, I mean, like any anthology series, it had really good episodes and really terrible episodes.
I
So.
mean, I've seen it here and there.
Yeah.
But and you would say this would be perfectly in that genre.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, if you want to take two completely differing genres and combine them, then you go to Tiki with Tiki. That's how
Yeah.
you do it.
Yes,
Yeah.
except he didn't exist at that point. So
Yeah, and I think some of his stuff is definitely influenced by stuff like this.
and Flash
Mark G.
Gordon, for the record. So
Wow. And Flash Gordon, he said.
At least during Flash, I smiled 5 times. This, I was like, where's the pen for my eye?
Yeah, and you know, just like Amy, like you said, I despised the FBI agent. That's the guy who was Reanimator, and he was bad in that too. The guy doesn't know how to act, and I agree. Like, I guess he just went with that character and went over the top, and it didn't work for me. The jokes didn't really hit. The same thing with the why is he driving like that every time?
I'm sure when they were on the set, they were all hysterical. But oh my God, he's so funny! We weren't in on the joke.
And just to be fair, there were parts that I thought were all right. I can't think of anything right now, but I didn't hate it. I did kind of, when I looked at it from like a kid's eyes, I appreciate it a little more. It was kind of silly, and I see that part of it was aimed at kids. But I think the scariest part of the movie was Jake Busey's teeth, to be honest.
Oh my God.
2.5 stars for me. So.
Anne, are you gonna fall somewhere?
Annie, come on,
in
you're on
between
my
the two?
side here.
Yeah, I'm a huge Michael J. Fox fan.
Yeah.
I will watch Back to the Future anytime it's on and stuff, you know. So
Didn't you feel here like he was like a movie star now?
yeah,
He had the haircut, he was cocky, he
I
was
just thought that was the character.
Character.
Yeah.
I also have to say, like, when it came out, 1996,
somewhere
Yeah.
around.
it was right.
Yeah.
So I had just had Amanda. So I was a mom with a newborn and very busy. I don't know if I had seen it in the theater, maybe I would have enjoyed it, but now looking at it, it was just silly to me. It seemed like there was so much going on. I didn't know what was going on. There was, like you said, there was like Beetlejuice, there was ghosts, there was natural born killers, and all of it together made it really confusing. I didn't really have much to laugh at, you know. I think there's 2, which again, my notes are downstairs, so I can't remember where.
Go get them, we'll wait.
Yeah, because I want to know what you laughed at.
Yeah, I need to know too. Go get them, we'll talk to Joel.
Okay.
She's wearing shorts. Thank God she had
Well,
underwear
that's
on.
so cute.
Like she's in a cartoon. Joel,
Yes.
so all right, I want to go back to the Tales of the Crypt thing. So then Robert Zemeckis steps out and says, no, you go ahead and write the whole script.
Correct. Well, turn it into a feature instead of an episode. So
So it was going to be for the TV thing,
originally
not a
it was,
movie.
they were talking about doing it as an episode, and then he had them rewrite it into a feature. And once they rewrote it into a feature, it was going to be a movie spin-off from Tales from the Crypt, like they had done Bordello of Blood and Demon Knight.
So Peter Jackson reached out to Robert Zemeckis after he did Heavenly Creatures?
I think it was the other way around.
Oh.
I think that they had reached out to him about doing something with Tales from the Crypt at the time. And once the feature-length version was finished being written, Zemeckis didn't step out. He produced the film.
Right, right.
So,
Well, he had some clout at the time, sure.
well, sure. Yeah, I mean, without Zemeckis, it probably wouldn't have been made at all. So,
All right, Annie King, what are the 2 things you laughed at?
When he pulled out the gun and it was holy water.
Holy water.
holy water. I thought that was funny. And when he opened up his shirt and the breastplate was there, I was like, what? After that, I was too confused to write anything else. This is the extent of my
Most of the
notes.
time you were sitting there going, what is going on right now?
Yeah.
I
The
kept
only
going
other-
back to Wikipedia, quite frankly.
The only other thing, and I don't read anything before I watch movies, so I don't know all the
Yeah, I like
details and
going in
stuff.
for a pure experience. I don't even
Yeah, I
watch
read everything
trailers
after.
and stuff. I don't want to know. I want it to be a pure experience. Like we
Right.
just, well, didn't you just post the Doctor Strange trailer? I'm like, oop, not watching it.
Yeah.
Oh no, the Thor trailer came out.
I like trailers. Yeah, that
No.
but I don't read it. The only other thing I have was like that FBI agent. I kept thinking was Jim Carrey. Like he just reminded me so much of Jim Carrey. Like
I can
I
see
was like,
that.
is that Jim Carrey? Because he sounded like it. He looked like him a little bit.
'Cause Jim Carrey looks like Adolf Hitler.
I'm sure he
Okay.
could play that too.
He's doing Jim Carrey doing Adolf Hitler.
There you go.
Yes. So for me, it was and again, I love Michael J. Fox, so that probably pushed me to the 2.75.
Holy shit. 3 stars is really good, and you're almost at 3 stars.
Joel, I know you don't feel this way, but you don't have to defend the movie, but explain to us why this has your love.
Because I disagree with every one of you.
No, no,
point.
and of course you can, but
No,
when 4 out of 5 dentists recommend Trident,
I still don't chew it.
just saying.
I still don't chew it when 4 out of 5 dentists recommend Trident. I like the film because I think it does blend the genres, with the one exception I mentioned earlier, very nicely. I think it's balanced nicely. I think the story, yes, it can be confusing, but once you get through it, you kind of like, all right, that makes sense. And that's interesting to me. The whole concept of a serial killer basically coming back from the dead to continue his game of advancing his body count and using this guy who's had this trauma as a patsy at the same time, to me is interesting.
Okay,
And
I
I
see
think
that.
I think it's handled very well. I think part of the problem is that admittedly the director's cut, and I don't know if they actually call it the director's cut or it's an extended cut. I can't remember at this point. There are specific differences in the sense that I know with Peter Jackson specifically, the longer versions of the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy are all extended cuts. They're not his. He won't call them director's cuts because, as far as he's concerned, what you saw in the theaters was his director's cut. And the
And
director's
he
cut,
did have final cut on the movie, so when it went out,
yeah,
that's what he thought. But 10 years later, he was like,
So
wait a minute."
what did they add it back in?
so one of the complaints that you've all had that would probably be addressed is there's less of Agent Dammers in the original theatrical cut of the film. That
Oh
whole
wait, did everybody watch the director's extended version?
no, which was the version that you sent out to everybody, Frank?
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah,
And,
so
and
that's the one you watched.
I just
But-
bought it, so
Oh, you
I
just
just
bought it,
rented
okay.
it.
I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
We should all chip in and give our money back.
Yeah.
Well then, Annie, you didn't see the scene where Agent Dammers gets out of the car and opens up his jacket and he's all scarred and tattooed from all the cults that he had been with, and he goes off on this large, crazy tangent.
Yeah, and that's what I specifically mentioned.
Exactly. That's not in the original cut of the film. I think most of the stuff that is added back has to deal with him. I actually like Jeffrey Combs as an actor. I think Reanimator is a completely over the top, batshit, low budget horror comedy, and I think he's perfect in that. Here, I think the choices that he and Peter Jackson made are a little on the wonkier side, but it works for the character most of the time. He's actually, if you've seen some Star Trek episodes. He's appeared in a number of those. I think the biggest role he had was on Deep Space Nine. If anybody's seen that, he's the I can't remember the character's name at this point.
I'm looking at his resume, and he's done a lot of voices.
Yes, he's done a lot of voices. He was a Wayoon. He worked with the with Odo's people.
On Enterprise, he was Commander Shran.
Yeah, he was an Andorian on Enterprise. I think he's been like every possible alien on Star Trek. But anyway, I don't
Deep
mind
Space
him.
Nine, he was
Wayoon.
Wayoon.
Yeah, Wayoon worked
32,
with
32 episodes.
Yeah.
You
he
go,
he
boy.
worked with Odo's people. Anyway, there's less of him in the theatrical cut, and I think that
Gratefully.
helps
Uh-huh.
somewhat. As I said, I it was one of those things I discovered in the theaters, didn't know much about. I'd seen the trailers. This looks interesting. Went and saw it, really liked the movie. Seen it a number of times since then. And it's not like, I'm trying to think of a movie that I saw as a kid that, I seen as an adult and I'm like, oh, this is crap. And I can't think of one off
The
the
Life
top.
of Brian.
That would be one of them.
The Graduate.
Nope, also not one of them.
So
Anyway.
I wish I had seen it 10 minutes shorter. That might have helped.
Oh, okay. Well,
I just want to say, Joel, just to give you some good news here. I really did like the way they portrayed the Grim Reaper, and I love the numbers that only Michael J. Fox could see on their forehead. I love that premise. I thought they did that very well.
I love that too. And the first time we saw that, I think it was 36. I had no idea what it was. And then when we saw 37, I was like, okay, that was great.
Yeah. Well, they spent a lot of time trying to get the Grim Reaper effects, right. This is the Weta operations that that Peter Jackson has worked with
In New
over the
Zealand.
years. This was the first.
Which, can I also say, New Zealand doesn't really look like the United States.
It doesn't?
No.
I hadn't noticed.
But the
I
Grim Reaper
also
looked very
read
much
that-
like the screen painting.
I also read that after spending 6 months in New Zealand filming this, Michael J. Fox decided to go back to TV.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's
So-
Without this movie, we wouldn't have had Spin City.
exactly.
Not a great show, but I watched it all
Yeah.
7 years. Okay,
I think
Joel.
Even once Michael J.
Annie?
Fox was gone, you were still watching?
Yeah, Charlie
Yeah.
Sheen.
Annie.
Wanted
I
to
think-
talk.
I think that extra 10 minutes is, if you hadn't watched the extended version, you would have gone that quarter of a star more like I did.
Oh, okay. Yes, because when he was doing this in the car and then went like that, I was like, all right.
Is that in the original version? No. All right, so Joel, give us a
3
star.
stars. It's a 3-star movie for me.
3-star.
Yeah.
3.
3.
You're making us watch 3-star movies.
I'm making you watch 3-star movies that I think are 3 stars. You're lucky after this I didn't go to 4. I was
Yeah.
tempted.
I'm glad you were honest with your stars.
I'm always honest with my stars.
All right. I thought we were watching movies we loved. A 3-star movie is not a love to me.
You know
I-
what though? I just have to say, I really appreciate all you guys' choices, because these are movies I probably would never have picked up.
Yeah.
So even if it's a 3-star movie for you, Joel,
Yeah.
I enjoy watching things that
Oh, no, I
never
agree
would.
too. I agree too. I think
With one exception coming up eventually, but Twilight. No, I'm kidding, Annie.
No, you're not.
Watch it with a-
You're
I'm
not
just gonna
kidding.
watch it with an open mind, obviously.
No, and yes, I agree too. I love having this little glimpse into your minds.
To me, it's not about watching movies that other people love. It's because love is a large description. To me, it's more about movies that most people wouldn't have seen that they might like. Like when I had my video store, this was a thing that
Recommendations.
I was constantly recommending it to people, and I would say that maybe
In most cases.
9 out of 10 people thank me for this one.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, but you have to know your audience, Joe.
I had a crappy store, so it was a crappy
You had a crappy
Frank is referring
audience.
to us.
what?
Frank is referring to us.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah, that I knew.
No, I totally
so-
get that. Although, like I said, in all the movies I picked, I had a reason for it. It wasn't just because, oh, I love this movie, I'm going to pick it.
Exactly.
There's a reason why I picked
But this
it.
Yeah,
is
you
the
want
movie
us
that
to watch it. I
I
appreciate
think
that.
most people hadn't seen,
Yeah.
which was the case. I thought
Right.
some of
right.
you might like it. You know, I know Dan was supposed to be with us today as a guest, but he could not make it.
Oh, Dan couldn't be with us.
Dan couldn't be with us.
Let's have a moment of silence for Dan.
But I know he likes the movie, so you know.
Yeah, so here's the thing too, and I know, Joel, you made fun of me and my Franken list, but that's the whole
No, I
reason I
know.
started the Franken list too, because
Of
I
course.
wanted to watch movies that I hadn't seen, that I had seen, and because, you know, your opinion does change over the years.
Oh, of
what-
course, and
what
I
you
understand
think.
that.
Yeah,
I
so-
make fun of the fact that you glommed onto all of these different lists to pull together this list,
right,
and then you keep adding more lists to it.
yeah, because I don't want to watch just one person's opinion. I want everybody's opinion.
Okay.
Everybody, including this ragtag group of hoodlums here. Okay, so any last minute thoughts on the Frighteners?
Did you see the ghost
And-
that closed my door?
Oh,
No, I wasn't looking there.
everybody rewind and watch where the
Yeah.
door closed magically. Are we being too loud for somebody?
In my house, always. Duncan has told me that if I don't close the bedroom door, he'll come in and start yelling at us. So.
I would like that, actually. So okay, so next week we have one of Amy's picks, Fame, which is from 1980,
No, I'm kidding.
which is also would be on my ass licking list as well. If I had one, I don't.
I have
My-
not
my
seen
list
Fame.
is- You've not seen it?
I have not seen Fame since probably 1986, so I'm looking forward to
okay.
seeing this.
I
I
did
lo-
watch it in the mid to late 90s after being obsessed with it, and my thoughts did change. So I'm curious to see now, 20 more years later.
Right. It's available on HBO Max if you want to watch it before we do, and join our discussion next week. And maybe Jordan Michael Hensley will be here
I will be seeing him shortly, so I will ask him.
for Film Club. That's it. I'm Frank Gaffney. Go watch a friggin' movie.
And also, friggin' with you.
Maybe not this one. Joel, end the